How many men have already had their lives destroyed by a false accusation? Today you're going to hear another one of those cases. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's start. Carl always lived a quiet life in Compton, California. He was known as a friendly neighbor and dedicated to his job as an analyst at a tech company. Carl's routine included going to work, spending time with friends, and caring for his family. He enjoyed playing soccer on weekends and hosting barbecues with the neighbors, creating bonds that seemed unbreakable. However, his life turned upside down when a neighbor, Aaliyah, made a false accusation of harassment against him. Aaliyah was a woman known in the neighborhood, but not for good reasons. She had a history of disputes with other residents and often found herself in conflicts. When Carl noticed that she was behaving strangely, he decided to keep his distance. This, however, ignited Aaliyah's anger, and she decided to retaliate. She claimed that Carl had made inappropriate comments and had been stalking her, and the situation quickly spiraled out of control. The rumors spread like wildfire. Without hearing Carl's side of the story, the residents of the neighborhood became furious. They united in a clamor for justice, but their version of justice did not include listening to what Carl had to say. Within days, his car was vandalized. He came home one night to find the tires slashed and hateful messages painted on the side. The supportive messages he used to receive from neighbors were replaced by hostile glares and whispers on street corners. Things worsened when a group of residents decided to pay a visit to Carl's house. They began throwing stones at his windows, shouting insults and demanding that he leave the neighborhood. The situation became untenable. Carl felt fear take hold of him as he tried to understand how his life had changed so drastically in such a short time. What was once a safe home now felt like a prison. The pressure from the situation also affected his job. The rumors reached his company, and even without concrete evidence, his superiors decided to fire him to avoid backlash from the community. Carl was devastated. Not only did he lose his job, but he also lost his dignity and the respect he had earned over the years. He felt powerless and frustrated, wondering how someone could believe such an absurd lie. Desperate and unsure where to go, Carl decided to flee the city. On a rainy night, he quickly packed his bags and left home quietly, fearing that neighbors would see him. His cousin, Lucas, came to rescue him. He had always been close to the family and was willing to help Carl start over in a small town in Louisiana. After a long journey filled with uncertainty, Carl arrived at his aunt's house in Louisiana. In those first few days, he felt relieved to be away from the chaos of Compton, but was also overwhelmed by anxiety and fear that the rumors would follow him there. For days on end, he barely left his room. Panic attacks were constant and intense. He felt like a prisoner in his own mind, haunted by memories of the events that led him there. His aunt's house was cozy, but Carl couldn't appreciate that comfort. He felt guilty for leaving his old life behind and for causing worry for his family. His aunt tried her best to distract him, cooking delicious meals and attempting light-hearted conversations, but nothing seemed to work. Loneliness consumed him. He spent hours staring out the window, lost in dark thoughts about the past. Time passed slowly as Carl tried to adapt to his new life. He avoided social interactions whenever possible and isolated himself more each day. His aunt did everything she could to encourage him, preparing meals and trying to engage him in light conversation, but nothing seemed effective. The solitude weighed heavily on him. He spent hours gazing out the window, lost in somber thoughts about what had transpired. It wasn't until 8 months later that Carl managed to gather enough evidence to prove his innocence. He collected messages exchanged with Aaliyah that clearly showed she was lying about what happened. With Lucas's help, he finally found the courage to contact a lawyer who could assist him in navigating the legal situation. The legal battle was exhausting. Each meeting with the lawyer brought back painful memories of the past. Although he managed to prove his innocence in court, the emotional scars left by the experience remained deep. Carl realized that regaining his former prestige or job would not be easy. Companies were reluctant to hire him due to lingering rumors from his old neighborhood. Thus, he found himself forced to restart his life in Louisiana. He began searching for modest jobs while trying to rebuild his self-esteem. Each interview was a challenge. He struggled against the fear of judgment from others and painful memories from the past. Carl started attending online support groups where people shared similar experiences regarding false accusations and their repercussions on personal and professional lives. He found solace in hearing stories from others who had faced unjust situations like his. It helped lighten some of the emotional weight he carried. As time went by, Carl began realizing that he needed to let go of the past. He started networking with former colleagues and friends in the industry to explore new opportunities again. In some informal conversations, he discovered openings at larger companies where he could showcase his skills without being judged for past events. With renewed determination, Carl decided to invest in online courses to enhance his technical skills and increase his marketability. He spent nights studying advanced programming techniques and project management while trying to balance responsibilities at work. Finally, after months of consistent effort, he landed an interview with a well-known company recognized for its inclusive and respectful environment. During the final interview, Carl presented his ideas confidently. It felt like he was finally regaining his passion for work. However, even after proving his innocence and securing a new job with better pay than before, Carl still carried with him lessons learned about trust and respect in personal and professional relationships. He knew that while he had overcome a difficult period in his life and was ready to move forward, he would always remain vigilant about those around him to avoid falling into another painful situation like that again. Carl moved forward with renewed vigor in his professional life, while knowing that he could never completely erase the scars from the past. Each day represented a fresh opportunity for rebirth, a constant reminder of how important it is to nurture relationships around us as we strive for growth both personally and professionally. The story ends with Carl starting this new phase of life in Louisiana, a fresh start filled with uncertainties and challenges ahead. He was determined to fight for a better life but still felt shadows from the past following him as he tried to find his place in the world again. The struggle was far from over. Each day was a battle between the desire to move forward and painful memories of what he had left behind. Share your thoughts on the comments section below and don't forget to follow for more videos like this one.